Gustavo Fring might be the most iconic TV villain, and for a good reason. He's an incredible villain. Now, in Breaking Bad, there are a lot of parallels between Gus and Walter, and that's what I want to talk about. Gustavo Fring, a better Walter White. From the get-go, we see Gus as a very clearly and calculated person. In the daytime, acting like a nice, happy owner of a restaurant chain, but in reality, a meth kingpin. Now, immediately what separates Walt and Gus is when we find out who he is. Walter comes back to the restaurant. Walt requests Gus to sit down with him, which we get our first true scene with Gus, when Walt suggests that him and Gus are similar. We see Gus's smile drop, due to being insulted, and Walter suggesting that they are both alike. Gus immediately inserts his dominance as a more powerful and more experienced criminal.
I don't think we're alike at all, Mr. White. You are not a cautious man at all. Your partner was late, and he was high.
Another thing that makes Gus better is the fact that he basically had everything Walt wanted, an empire and power. Gus, at the start of Season 2, had the most successful drug operation in the history of the United States, something that continued growing due to Walter's now more superior product being made and distributed in Gus's operation. Gus, throughout the show, is extremely careful, and even conducts the business that helps him. Take, for example, the DEA fun run. Gus is able to meet Hank, and while it is implied he may already have known, solidify to Gus that Walter had lung cancer, and that his brother-in-law was Hank, a DEA agent who killed Tuco Salamanca, which Gus uses to great effect. Gus allows and sends the cousins to kill Hank Schrader, but before they arrive, Gus warns Hank about them.
Schrader.
I need you to listen very carefully. 2 men are coming to kill you.
Come again?
They're approaching your car. You have 1 minute.
And I'll get the gag, jag-off. Who is this?
They're coming.
Hello?
This allows Hank to anticipate and kill them, showing us that Gus, despite only meeting Hank once, could put his faith in him, and that he would take out the cousins. Something that helped Gus, as he wanted to kill all the Salamancas, and help Walter, as now Walter is safe from the Salamancas, and his brother is out of the way for at least a while. And after this incident, we see the difference in the two. Both men are out in public, and we see Walt's hand, he is very nervous and anxious, while Gus is keeping up his public persona as calm and even manages to slight Walter.
I investigate everyone with whom I do business. But careful man wouldn't.
Gus in this scene also ensures Walt that he's safe.
Sure, they'll be fine. I am told the assassin that survived is gravely injured. It's doubtful he'll live.
Gus was also better due to his ruthlessness and better planning. Like when Gus kills Victor. Now yes, it's quite ruthless, but it did have a point. Gus realised that Victor was greedy and ambitious, and cocky, implying that he could cook just like Walter. And Victor was spotted at Gail's death. But this was also to send a message to Walt and Jesse, as despite their pure product, anyone could be killed, even despite their high position in the organisation. Walt then later replicates some of this ruthlessness in Season 5, like killing Mike, and when he kills Mike's men in prison. Now yes, these killings were ruthless, but whenever Gus did something, there was a purpose, and careful thought was put into them. This kind of reckless behaviour is what leads to Hank figuring out that Walt is Heisenberg.
I mean, who you figure that is, yeah? Woodrow Wilson? Willy Wonka? Walter White?
You got me.
As if it was Gus, he would never allow a book written to him by another criminal to be out in the open like that. Next, I want to talk about the parallels of Breaking Bad between Walt and Gustavo Fring. It is clearly shown that Walt and Gus are very similar. The most obvious example of this is Max's death and Hank's death. Both characters that die are brothers. Hank is Walt's brother-in-law, and yes, Gus and Mac were a couple, but they are both the Chicken Brothers, aka Los Pollos Hermanos. Both of them are shot in the head mid-sentence, and of course, Gus and Walt's crying is shot both the same way. But it's in these parallels where we see something clear. Gus did it first. And better. Every single parallel, Gus did it first. Like going to the enemy, in this case, in Gus's case, the cartel, in Walt's case, Jack's hideout. Gus kills everyone via poisoning. Walt kills them via M60 machine gun. Both getting injured in the fallout. Gus drank some of the poison. Walt was hit by a bullet. Gus becomes a kingpin first. Walt follows after killing him. But Walt's empire is very amateur in comparison. Something Mike points out on multiple occasions.
Gustavo Fring didn't use mules. He didn't need them. He spent 20 years building his own distribution. He had 16 refrigerator trucks running his product.
This eventually leads to Walt, in frustration, killing Mike, which eventually is one of the reasons Jesse portrays Walter. Throughout Season 5, Walt is trying to be like Gus, having a drug empire have his product be distributed around the world. But Gus already did it, and much better, at that, and for many years. I think what Walt wanted in the end was respect and power, something that Gustavo Fring had for many years, which is why Walter envied him, and did eventually beat him, which is mostly due to Walt's necessity to kill Gus, which makes Walt come up with a plan that, let's be honest, possibly not even the cartel would come up with due to its dangerous nature. So Walt did quote unquote win, but in all of Season 5, Walt's trying to be like Gus. But it's just not good enough. Gus had the power to walk out in front of a sniper, and knew the sniper wouldn't kill him, due to his power and respect. If Walter did this, he would certainly be shot and killed. Which just shows how much better of an empire Gus had than compared to Walter. As when Gus took out the cartel, he survived, but when Walt killed Jack's gang, he died. No matter how smart Walt was, Gus was always better. He had more money, more power, more respect, more terrifying. Gus was always a step ahead of Walter, and did everything Walter had 10 times better. Which is why Gustavo Fring is a better Walter White.